Welcome back to Superhero Time, where we are sitting down and we're watching every single episode of Mashin Sentai Kiramager. I forgot for a second. And since this was a blue focus episode, I decided one of my favorite blues, Ren from Gowanger, who always made eggs, that I too was gonna make myself some eggs for shit. Anyway. So immediately we jump into this episode, which is focusing on our Blue Ranger, Shiguru, and he is currently filming a samurai-themed movie. And what's really kind of cool here is they actually shoot the little segments very cinematically, and it looks really good, which kind of disappoints me that Sentai is so the certain way it is. When it could look like this, I know like that definitely appeals towards a different group, a different, you know, age range, but it looks really cool. I'd love to see a Sentai shot like this. But one of the main things that he brings up is that he's always trying to play it cool no matter what the situation, which will play into the episode, obviously. So our monster of the week shows up and it's putting these vice grips on people's heads and it's like crushing their heads with all the pressure and everything. Any adults watching this show will understand. But out of all the ones that are fighting, Blue is the one that actually is able to go toe-to-toe with him pretty well, and he ends up getting a vice grip on Blue. Obviously, it's gonna be his focus episode. Obviously, he's gonna be the one that gets this stuck on his head. Yeah! And so they all go back and they're trying to get this off any way they can because of course the monster of the week flees. He's not ready to die yet. So they're trying all these different things and you know, there's a lot of fun comedy in this episode, which was alluded to with Blue, and I'm really happy to finally have gotten to one of these episodes where his, you know, demeanor and his character really can kind of shine through. And you know, like when he turns to the camera and he says, "Don't try this at home, kids," or like when they got like the montage of all the pain he's going through in the back room. I love that. I love little touches like that. It's fun, you know, especially because Blue is almost always painted as like the more serious character. I think like there's only been a handful, like Tokyo comes to mind, like of a Blue that is more goofy. But what I really liked about this episode was because he's an actor, we get to see a lot of the sort of behind the scenes workings with these films. And you can kind of see that a lot of those people that are in those shots, it's typically what you're actually going to see if you found yourself on a Sentai set. Having worked on a few movies myself, roll the footage now.
Would you f*** me? Hard
It was cool to kind of see like how they, you know, showed the setups and everything, and they had the one setup where, you know, it was like, it was cutting back and forth and then it cut to like him up and then he jumped out. You want it to go that fast. You think that it should happen, you know, in real time, but a shot and a whole scene like that could take hours, even, you know, a day or two. Like I did this film with Woody Harrelson. I wasn't a main character in the film, but I just showed up and I was in the background. And it's literally him just walking down the street, sitting, talking to a dude, and that's it. It's literally 20 seconds in the movie, and it took us 7 hours to do. Movie making, filming, anything that you're doing takes a lot of work. So appreciate, you know, some of those movies that maybe you don't like as much. There's a lot of work that went into them. So basically they all go into battle, and our Red Ranger, Juru, he realizes that the best way to communicate with Shiguru is because he's trying to be so cool. He's trying to, you know, like not kind of slowing everybody down with how he's fighting. And so he recites the lines from the movie that he's in and kind of makes it as if they're all his like sort of retainers, you know, like they're gonna help fight him and like he's the master and all this stuff. And it really does kind of help him to where they get the whatever it is to take the vice grip off. And then what happens to be maybe the best thing that I've seen in Sentai in years is this tug of war over the turn latch. And even like the monster of the week, you know, like they get like the giant monster because they're two separate entities, and the giant monster is even grabbing onto the monster of the week and he like flings them all in the air, you know, which is like, we haven't seen something like that since Ninja. And Red gets like all of the crystal machines to show up and they're all pulling him too. It's one of the most ridiculous scenes that you really can only get in Sentai, and this one's pretty top notch. And the one thing that I did notice too is like when the crystal machines were fighting and everything, does the Sky Mage even have a suit? Like all I've seen is just the CGI, like the Land Mage obviously, and then they all came together. But I was just wondering, you know, like did they cut a corner there? Did they save some money by just having that strictly as a computer generated suit? But yeah, I really like this episode. I think this is my favorite episode of the season so far. This definitely alluded to Blue having this really fun character, and I think that they could, you know, continue to do stuff like this, which I don't think it's really ever going to grow past that very much. It's still going to be like he's the cool guy, but we all know, you know, like you're struggling to. I wish it would go further than that, but you know, it's Sentai. They only have X amount of time, and now they have even less time because of COVID and they had to take off. Ugh. Our comment of the episode comes from the episode 01 that went up when I was recording this one, and it's from Shenanigans 8, who is talking about our Red Ranger here. He's actually more likable than you would think. The catchphrase into the camera thing dies down too. Kiramai Red/Juru is humble and shows great empathy and understanding to others' feelings while lacking confidence in his own abilities, leaving him with plenty of room to grow throughout the show. I like that. No, that's definitely like what I'm kind of alluding here towards, how he was to Senna and Shiguru, and you know, just that growth, that potential of growth is there. What maybe has started off as like kind of a rocky, you know, like annoying to an extent Red Ranger, I think actually could grow. I think could have like a completely different outlook on everything by the end of it. Like he's very hopeful and he's very, you know, supportive. And we could even see the very opposite of that once we get to the end of this series. But he's actually kind of growing on me a little bit. I'm surprised to say that. But yeah, what did you guys think of episode 3 here? Leave your comments down below, and remember, do not comment ahead of this episode. We don't want to spoil anybody in the comments who, you know, just happens to read. But yeah, I'm gonna continue trucking with this, and we'll see what the next episode is. I don't necessarily watch the next time on, you know, previews at the end of the episode. And so I really have no idea what's gonna happen in any of these things. However, I did hear it while I was setting everything up. I did hear Father, and I'm pretty sure the princess is like the king, you know, he's gonna show up again. That's just my my bet. But I don't watch that. I try to keep that completely out of my brain because I like to go into it fresh. I like to see the episode for what it is instead of, ooh, look what's gonna happen next episode. You get it. Anyway, that's all I have. I will see you all on the next episode. Bye.